betrayal. When I say the word betrayal, and we think about the betrayals that we can experience in our marriages, in our committed relationships, in our long-term relationships, the intimate ones, right? There's many kinds of betrayal, but typically, if I say betrayal, or somebody says it to me, clients come to me and they say, my partner betrayed me. What they are actually saying is, my partner cheated on me. My partner broke my trust in some fashion or form. And often that means affair. They had sex with somebody else. That's what betrayal typically means in intimate relationship. Well, there's betrayal out there that happens in so many different relationships, but especially in our intimate, our marriages, our long-term relationships, in dating, in those relationships that we really feel comfortable, safe, they're not going anywhere. We betray our partners consistently. And today I'm going to share with you what one of the biggest betrayals of intimate relationship is. So, what is it? All right, I'm just going to get right to it for you. Well, one of the biggest betrayals is contempt, okay? And contempt often gets viewed as many different things, and I've just recently seen this with some clients of mine where one person is very contemptful towards the other, and what that means is that it's a belittling. I am better than you. I am greater than you. You are nothing. You are the one with the problem. And here's the thing, that if you're a couple out there and you're like, maybe we should get help because he needs to see it from my side, or she needs to get fixed. Well, that's what happens. People come into therapy, coaching, consulting with us practitioners out there because they want to fix their partner. And often it is based on contempt. I'm better than you, and you're the one with the problem, and you need to get help, and therefore we're going to do this to get you help because you just messed up. And if you just did it the right way and could hear me, see me, do what I think is right here, get on board with this, make sense, then everything would be better. And there's a whole gamut of different things that people want to fix in their partners. But when we put ourselves on a pedestal and we look down at our partner, we are embracing one of the biggest issues in relationship, long-term relationship. So what's the other big betrayal? What's the betrayal that I'm discussing today? Yesterday, I witnessed a relationship that was almost a decade long, completely fall apart at the seams, crash and burn, end right in my office, right before me, because of this betrayal. Well, there was other things going on, but this was the nail that sealed the coffin on the relationship, okay? And the betrayal was just taking it for granted, was indifference. This one person in this relationship revealed the indifference that was felt to the relationship, to their partner. And what does that mean? That means, I can take you or leave you. I don't really care about this relationship. It's not really doing a whole lot for me. I can't see it. I don't really feel anything. Maybe I do. Maybe I feel a little bit. There's some gratitude there. There's a little bit of appreciation there, but the pile of stuff that I have against you is so great, and I'm just so worn out by it that I'm just kind of indifferent. Just, yeah, well, if you want to break up, then, that's on you. And let's get off my nose, as the saying goes, right? It doesn't matter. And I looked at this person who was a woman, and I told her, I said, that's disrespectful. Because that is one of the most disrespectful things that we can do to our partners, to our marriages, to our long-term relationships, is to be indifferent. The betrayal of indifference is one that not many can come back from. Many years ago, I was in a long-term relationship with a man, and I remember coming to him and asking him to spend just 30 minutes a week on our relationship. I just wanted to share hey, here's 15 minutes of what's going on in my life, and you give me 15 minutes of what's going on in your life. Let's inquire. Let's get to know each other, because we're different people today than what we were yesterday, than what we were last week, than what we were when we met. And I want to know you, and I want you to know me. So you see that right there, that's a desire to get to know, a desire to connect, a desire to stay engaged in a relationship. When we have indifference in the relationship, the betrayal of indifference, when it rises up, you get the answer that I got from him. Yeah, really just don't have time for that. We're both busy people, and we have busy lives and busy with work and kids, and we just don't have time to spend 30 minutes in the week working on us, sharing about us, connecting about us. I also was told by this person, if you want to leave, there's the door. But it's you leaving. I'm not going to leave you. You're going to leave me. If this relationship breaks up, you're going to be the one to walk out the door. And if you want to, I was looking for a relationship when I found this one, and I can be in those same shoes. I don't really need a relationship. I don't really need anything. Whatever. You're nothing. And that's what indifference says. The same thing as contempt. You're nothing. I don't need you. I don't care. This relationship means nothing to me. It has given me nothing. I can tell you that I'm grateful for something, but I don't really feel it. And when I picture you moving out of my life forever, I may miss the sex. I may miss some of the things that you do for me. But I'm not going to miss you. I'm not going to miss the companionship. I'm not going to miss the emotional support. I'm not going to miss the engagement and conversation. You're not really my best friend. You're not really that important to me. And people like you, a dime a dozen. Relationships, doesn't matter. Can you feel that? Can you feel how much a betrayal to the relationship that is, to the love, to the intimacy? Maybe you're a person that's been on the receiving side of those statements. Maybe you've received a betrayal like that, of getting told that the relationship is nothing and that you are nothing. And here you've spent years, you've invested years into this relationship, only to find out that every moment spent was meaningless to the other person. Now, maybe you're the person that is gifting this betrayal of indifference. And maybe you go, well, it's not just like that. It isn't. It took a lot to get to these shoes of indifference, of not caring. And they should have, and here's the problem, they should have done whatever it is, fill in the blank. They should have done this. They should have figured it out. They should have done the work on themselves. They should have invested more into this relationship. They. And the problem with the finger pointing of going out of they is that we miss the opportunity to really connect, to really heal, to really see the truth, because we're the ones in those shoes. When we betray with indifference, it is us that is not showing up in the relationship. It is those who choose to not show up that also say, there's nothing wrong with me. Oh, look, we have a Halloween cat. That's Mr. Jinx. Say hi to everybody. Yeah. So I ask you today, where are you? Oh gosh, now he's going to go and try to knock everything down. Where are you betraying your relationship? In the idea that it's the other person's responsibility, that they have done something to encourage, create your indifference. Where are you being indifferent and or showing contempt and thinking that you're better than your partner, and actually giving them that kind of energy, that kind of communication, that kind of lack of care, lack of love? In what other place in your life would it be okay to do that? Would that work with your children? Would it work if your friends treated you like that? How would that work at your job, at your career, if you were just indifferent? Or if you thought that everything you did was perfect and the other side was the one that really needed to come through? They're the ones who needed to change. You know, we live in this world right now where, sorry people, we have a bunch of snowflakes walking around. And we have a bunch of people who actually believe this right here, that the world, their work, their jobs, their friends, their families, their governments, their schools, their religious, foundations, everything else is the ones with the problem. And it should just, bow down and get on board with what their idea is. But that's not how life works. And life is a beautiful teacher of the truth, for sure. And it gets real and it gets rough really quick. And those people out there who are running around with this concept, this fragility of everything else needs to, listen to me and do as I say and I'm better than, well, they're not very happy. And that's what happens in our intimate relationships, is that we're not happy. And so we start to armor up with indifference. And we don't know how to communicate what we need. We don't know how to communicate what we desire. Maybe desire has been lost. Maybe we don't feel safe in the relationship. Maybe we're actually experiencing some form of sabotage to the relationship, where we have abandonment issues coming up. We have fear coming up. We have all these different things. And what we're actually doing then is we're creating this space because we don't know how to deal with the relationship. We don't know how to deal with the tough spots in that relationship. And so what we do is we become indifferent to it. And when we become indifferent, what we have done is we have calloused our hearts. We have calloused our emotions to that person and to the relationship. And therefore, we have ended the relationship. There is no more intimacy. There is no more friendship. There is nothing of that nature going on there. So I ask you to simply look at the relationships, and you can look at this in any relationship, not just your marriages and the people that you're dating, the intimate ones, but the other intimate ones, your children, your friends, your family, your colleagues. Where are you being indifferent, and what is actually the creation of it? Ask yourself, how do I emotionally feel about this relationship? And what if this was the last day, the last moment that I ever got to spend with this person? That after this, it was no more. Our worlds cease to exist together. What would you want to share? How would you really feel? And pay attention to that, because yesterday I watched this person block what they felt. They didn't want to go there. They didn't want to feel the goodbye. They didn't want to feel the loss, because they were still so bitter and blaming to the other person, and they could not receive their own fault that they did not want to feel. And they didn't want to feel the vulnerability of the pain of the loss, because it's a vulnerable space if we really let ourselves be there. It's a deeply vulnerable space, a deeply emotional space. At least it should be, if that relationship, if that person really means something to you. So ask yourself that. And realize that betrayal comes in many forms. Often we might think that it is cheating or an affair, but betrayal actually has many things that we do on a day-to-day basis to betray our partner, to betray the one that we say that we want to do life with, that we are committed to, that we have never loved like this before. And that person, that's the one that holds the bag on all of our crimes to the relationship. That's the one that we feel like we can punish for everything that's gone wrong in our life and all of our fear and all the things that we don't want to look at. And that somehow, by pointing our fingers at them and betraying them through these seemingly little things that we don't understand, like contempt, right? Like indifference, like taking it for granted, that it's all better because now we've made it their fault. But that's not the reality. It is to go within. It is to heal those wounds of who we are, to embrace our fear, and to really come back to self. Because when we can come back to self and we can find confidence in ourselves, and we can see the sabotaging patterns that we are creating and that we are living, and the stories that we are painting. Oh, look, there's a cat behind me again. The stories that we are painting within our relationships, that there we can turn if we're willing to take the responsibility for ourselves and for the relationship, for the love. So I love to hear your comments, your shares on this. If I've said something that has touched you, made you think of somebody who needs to hear this message, please hit the share button. Give me your likes, your loves, your comments. And as always, remember, you are deserving of that soulmate relationship. You are deserving of the love that you have desired your entire life. And there are things that you can do to call that in and to embrace it and to make it thrive when you have it. But I can tell you that those things are not easy. And that is not for the weak-minded or the weak in spirit. It is for those who truly understand that a love worth keeping is a love worth working for, a love worth putting in effort for, a love that makes you want to be a better you. Remember, stop existing, start living, and I will catch you another day with another Conscious Coffee.